So many of you know we recently got back from vacation, and when I was a kid, we didn't really vacation, and if we did, it was just a road trip to Grandma's house. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That was vacation as a kid. We never stayed in hotels ever. We always just pulled over and slept in the car. We pulled over on the side of the road. And the only trip I can ever remember us taking when I was a kid was when I was 6 years old. My mom drove us from Grand Junction, Colorado, down to Corpus Christi, Texas, all the way down on the Gulf to visit her great aunt, or my great aunt, her aunt. And when we got there, we found out that she took us down there so that she could tell us that her and my dad were getting a divorce. And so that was, not the greatest trip. And I don't remember any trips after that, because after that we were really, really poor, as my mom was a single mom with 5 kids. But as an adult, our family vacations have definitely been a little bit better than that. When you're a pastor, you tend to kind of be a little bit poor, but we're extremely fortunate because my in-laws are not poor. And so by that fact, I get to sort of glean off their not poorness, and be blessed a little bit. And so years and years ago, they took us to Hawaii. We went as a family. My wife has a sister, and so her and her husband and Hansi and I and my in-laws, we all went to Hawaii, and they had such a great time. They started buying timeshares on different islands, and so that we could all just make it a tradition and all go as a family. And so for years and years and years, we've been traveling there every summer as a family and getting to spend a week or two over there in the islands. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's such a blessing. It's such a gift. And that this year was no different. We spent a couple weeks in Maui, but this year on that trip was the year of kind of mishaps for me. I got pooped on by birds 4 or 5 times, and I actually think it was the same bird because I would get up and set up under the same sort of shelter. So my wife and I, she loves the sun. I hate the sun. I want to kill the sun. I want the shade. I want it to be sunny out. I don't want sun on me. So I hang out in the shade. She hangs out in the sun, and this stupid bird had it in for me, and so it was the worst. And I kept grabbing a towel and trying to get rid of it. Also, I was trying to body surf a little bit one day in the shore break, and this stupid lady ran out in front of me, and I ran into her, and so I face planted into the sand, and it snapped my sunglasses, and the wave was like, hey, how about we drag your face across the sand? How would you like that? And so that was really fun. And then the kicker was, one day we were out on a boat, and we paid for this tour where we went exploring. We went up the coast to explore all these lava formations and all these caves on the coast. It was super amazing. It was really cool. And on the way back, the sea was really rough, and the boat was pretty small. There's only about 12 of us on there. It wasn't this big thing, And the lady driving the boat, she misjudged a wave, and so we were cruising at a pretty good speed, and she was sort of navigating the waves pretty good, but she misjudged one, and when she came up over the swell, she planted the nose of the boat into the base of the next wave, and when she did, it was like the boat ran into a brick wall, and we stopped on a dime, and I was not prepared for that. I was holding on to not fly backwards. I was not prepared to not fly forwards, and so before I even knew what had hit me, I hit the bottom of the boat. I was pinned down on the ground between the side of the boat and my family, my arms behind me. It was the worst. And it didn't hurt at all. I was just really, really surprised because it happened. I didn't even have time to brace myself. It was just, bam, I'm on the ground. And what actually hurt the most was how much my wife, Hansi, enjoyed the whole thing. She's like, you look like a seal. You look like a seal. And I was like, I could have been injured, all right? I wasn't, but I could have been. She actually went to the people and said, do you guys have cameras in this boat? Because I would like to buy the footage of my husband getting slammed to the ground so that I could enjoy it forever. That's a true story. She asked that, and I did not appreciate that. But the truth is, it's impossible to have a bad vacation in Hawaii. Something's got to really go wrong. And so it was truly amazing. But every year, there's always this point in the middle of the second week where something happens. And this year was no different. I got up one morning, I made my protein shake, and I was sitting on our balcony. I mean, it's just breathtaking. It's overlooking the ocean, just sort of taking in the morning and the sunrise. It's stunning. It's amazing. But as I sat there drinking my shake, I thought, I'm ready to go home. And it happens to me every year, and I'm always surprised by it because it's not because I take it for granted, because I don't at all. I'm in awe of the whole experience every time we're there. And it's not because I'm ungrateful. If anything, I grow more grateful every year that we're there. And in fact, this year, Hansi and I spent a long time on different days talking while we're there about how humbling it is that we get to experience, that our kids have grown up with this trip, what a blessing it is that we don't deserve, that it's just something that's gifted to us. Still, in spite of all of that, there's no place like home, right? Like if you've ever had that experience where you were somewhere and you just had this longing for home, there's something about the place, the space that's yours, right? A place that's comfortable and secure and familiar. And it's understandable when you're somewhere that's less than ideal that you have that experience, but it turns out that no matter how awesome or beautiful a place is, eventually you just want to go home. I've had the privilege of traveling to some pretty incredible places in my life, but there's always a point where my heart starts to long for home. I want to sleep in my own bed. I want to know where the Q-tips are, right? Like, and the truth is like we get really hungry for home. But home is actually deeper than just sleeping in your own bed, right? Like it's the physical space for sure, but home is also your people. It's your family. It's the people that love you. Beyond just the people in your immediate family, it's your friends and your neighborhood and your community, the people who love you and know you, the people that when you get around them, you can exhale and let your guard down and just be you, the people that know the real you and they still really love you. See, the reality is that we're always all trying to find our way back home. Like it's like nostalgia for a place and an experience that we've glimpsed but never actually had. It's a hope for something that all of us long for but just can't seem to find. So the great theologian and author C.S. Lewis, he actually argues for this idea in his book, Mere Christianity. That there's a home for our hearts. And he actually writes this in his book. He says, if I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. And see, what he's saying is that if money and success and sex and beauty and power and affluence and pleasure and achievement, if none of those things can provide our souls with home, with peace, with rest, then maybe we were designed for something greater than those things. And it's that very experience, it's that description, it's that language that Jesus actually uses and adopts when he's speaking, and it's recorded for us in John chapter 14. This is what he says. I want you to check it out. Beginning with verse 1. He's speaking to his disciples. This is the last couple of days of his life. In fact, the last 5 or 6 chapters of John take place over the span of about 18 hours because John really wanted us to get what was happening leading up to Jesus' death and resurrection and all of the personal, intimate conversations he was having with his followers. And so Jesus is sitting with them, and this is what he says. He says, do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I'm going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and I will take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. And you know the way to the place where I'm going. And so Jesus starts out and he says, don't let your hearts be troubled. And do you know why he said that? He said it because their hearts were troubled. And by the way, when you read the Bible and you read a phrase like, their hearts were being troubled, that is Bible speak for these guys were freaking out. This wasn't like, well, we're kind of feeling a little anxious, Jesus. No, they were freaking out. And to sort of like put yourself in that space, these are fishermen, these are men, these are manly men, these are independent men, these are people who are going places. They're not people who freak out on a regular basis, and they are freaking out. And the reason that they're freaking out is because they had left their life, many of them had left their families, they had left their careers to follow Jesus because they believed in Jesus. They believed that he was not just the Son of God, he was the Messiah that was to come, and he was going to overthrow Rome and overthrow the oppression and restore Israel. And now he's starting to drop all these hints with like, I'm just going to be with you just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to go. And they're like, what are you talking about? Go. We left everything. And Jesus says, man, don't freak out. You believe in God, believe also in me. There's a place, there's a home for you with me. In fact, that's the whole reason I came, right? Is so that I could prepare a place just for you. And then I could come and get you and take you to that place, and you would be with me. And also, you know the way to the place that I'm going. But I love what happens next. I love the response that he gets in verse 5. Look at what Thomas says. Thomas said, Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way? I love that. Have you ever known somebody who has a knack for saying what everyone else is thinking, no matter how awkward it is in the moment? I realized for the first time a couple years ago that I'm that guy in a lot of situations. It happens a lot for me with my coworkers and my boss, because I've been in this position for a long time, and I'm old. I'm too young to play games. And so when the boss asks for honest feedback, I give it. And then my coworkers text me on the side going, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that. And I say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're a coward. By the way, this is one of those places in Scripture where if this was just all just made up, if it was just a made up story, this part wouldn't be in the story. I mean, if you're just making up all this stuff about Jesus, why would you include parts where his closest friends and his closest followers are doubting and questioning him all the time? You just wouldn't if you were making up that story. And so Jesus is like, guys, just settle down. You know where I'm going. And Thomas is like, Jesus, no, we don't. How could we? I mean, you're always talking in riddles and stuff. We don't know what you're talking about half the time. Jesus, we don't know where you're going. How could we know the way? See, what Thomas is really asking is, where is it that you're taking us? Are you the one that can get us home? Or should we continue to follow you? Because I don't know. We're starting to feel like this whole thing's falling apart. Where is it that you're taking us? Where is it that you want us to follow? Can you get us there? Can you get us home? And that's when Jesus unleashes maybe his most famous of all of the statements, the I am statements he said about himself. This is what he says in verse 6. Jesus answered Thomas and said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And so in this conversation, Jesus starts with the description of a house, of God's house with many rooms. And it's spacious and beautiful, but it's not just a house, it's a home. It's the home that he's creating for us. It's the home that we're all longing for. And the disciples are like, great, that's awesome. Where is it? How do we get there? Show us the way. Where is this home? Where is this house? What's the way? How do we get there? And then in that moment, Jesus begins to shift the conversation. Where Jesus is going, look, I've got a place for you, but it's really not a place. Right? See, the truth is what you and I are searching for is not a place, it's a person. The home that you were created for. The home that your heart and your soul are longing for. The home that you will spend your life searching for is a person. It's Jesus. It's the one who created you. It's the one whose breath is in your lungs. And so Jesus then shifts and he lays out this roadmap, but it's different than what any of them expected. And what he says, people have been talking about and wrestling with since the moment he said it 2,000 years ago. He says, I'm the place, I'm the way, I'm the truth, I'm the life. And so I wanted to spend what remains of my time with you this morning kind of talking about these things that he said. See, I don't know if you've thought much about it, but we are hardwired for progress. We're hardwired with the need to become. We're born trying to get somewhere. We're not always sure where that is, but we know it ain't here where we are, and we need to get over there. We're all born with this sense of destination, this idea of destiny. It's just in our DNA. And we grow up thinking that achievement or accomplishment will satisfy that need for progress, for becoming, but it just never does. And that's because our soul doesn't long for success. It longs for progress. See, you're designed to move forward even when you don't know which way forward is. Have you ever been stuck in traffic and so you got off the road that you knew would get you where you were going, and you got on some side roads and you weren't sure if those would get you there, but you did it just so you could keep moving? And then you ended up lost and you had to circle back and you ended up right back where you started in that same traffic jam. I've done that a lot. But I'm telling you what, I have no regrets. It still felt better to be moving than to be stuck, right? Because we feel better moving in the wrong direction than moving in no direction at all. And there's a reason why that's like universal. It's not accidental. It's because you and I were designed for movement, for growth, for progress, for becoming, for destiny. And so Jesus steps into this conversation and he says, I am the way. I don't know if you've thought about it, but the truth is every single one of us has a way. We have a filter. We have a true north. We have a way that we process life, a sense that's guiding us, a sense that's directing our life. No matter what you believe about God, no matter what you believe about the world, no matter what you believe about the Bible, we all have our own way. And by the way, it's possible for you to believe in Jesus and still live your own way. And that's why at our church, like we talk all the time around here about following Jesus and not just believing in him. Because those are different things, right? And what's interesting is when you read the Gospels, you actually cannot separate those two things. You can't separate believing from following. We're the only ones that do that. Because when you read the New Testament, to truly believe always meant to follow. It always meant that I'm going to follow you. I'm going to live your way. I'm going to become like you. I'm going to live my life, pattern my life after you. That's what it meant to believe. Here's what I know to be true. If your way isn't Jesus' way, you will always, always, always end up lost. And so, whether you believe in Jesus or you're not sure about Jesus, I want to encourage you, it's time to surrender your way and start to follow him. He's the only way for you to end up anywhere worth going. See, Jesus doesn't say, I have a way. He says, I am the way. He didn't come to show us the way. He came to be the way. Your way will always leave you lost, always get you stuck, always have you chasing your tail. There's only one way that can take you where your soul longs to go, and it's not your way. It's Jesus. He's the only way that any of us can ever come home. But progress isn't the only need that we have in our souls. We also crave meaning, to make sense of our lives. I think the reason that so many people end up losing their faith is because their faith gave them explanations that were too small for the pain and challenges that life brought their way. See, if your faith does not give you adequate meaning in the middle of life's biggest pains and disappointments, I can promise you your faith will not last. And I think if we're honest, a lot of us step into faith thinking and hoping and believing that it's going to somehow make our life easier. But faith never was intended to lead us to an easier life. It was always to lead us to a more meaningful life, to experience deep meaning regardless of whatever's happening in our lives. I don't know if you've experienced this, but it feels pretty easy to make sense of life when things are good. In fact, most of us do not question the meaning of life when life is good. Partly because I think we just don't want to jinx it, right? We're like, don't ask questions. Just enjoy it, man. But life has a way of always messing it up, right? Like it's full of things that make it feel like it makes no sense at all. See, the truth is our search for meaning is really us asking the question, is there anything or anyone in life that I can actually trust, that I can build my life on, that I can take at their word? Is there anything solid? Is there any solid ground? Is there any place I can build my life on? I thought this was real. I thought I understood how life works, but then it didn't work out. But then this happened, and I didn't see this coming, and so I don't even know. I don't even know who to trust or where to turn or what to believe in anymore. And honestly, when you think about it, trust really comes down to truth. So when you get to the root of it, our search for meaning is really a search for truth. Because we were designed for truth. We don't do well and we can't function without it. And I actually think that that's why you're here. Because we come to places like this to find truth and to find meaning. I think there's something that keeps drawing us back because of that. And I think if we were honest with ourselves, there's something that happens to us when we're here that doesn't when we're not. That there's a sense of feeling more grounded and connected, that more hopeful and peaceful and meaningful. And isn't it strange that even though all of that is true, it's so easy for us to let other things, other places, other experiences that don't lead us towards peaceful and being grounded and meaning to drown out and pull us away, to crowd out moments of faith and experience and community. It's almost as if there's someone who doesn't want you to experience any of what God has for you. It's almost as if there's someone who doesn't want you to find your way home. Notice that Jesus did not say, I know the truth, or I have the truth, or I'll show you the truth. He says, I am the truth. He embodies it. Truth is a person. Jesus is truth with skin on. And see, when he says, I am the truth, one of the things that he's telling you and I is, I am the one who can be trusted. I am reality. I am what's real. You can trust me. Every other truth is an illusion. It's a mirage. They promise freedom. They promise meaning. But all they do is take you captive. They leave you empty. They let you down. They betray your trust. And so if Jesus' truth is different from what you believe, it's time for you to die to your truth and to actually start living according to the truth. And when you do, man, it changes everything. By the way, I want you to know, when you truly pursue the truth, when you really, truly pursue the truth, it's always going to lead you to Jesus. And if it leads you anywhere other than Jesus, then you've fallen for a lie. In John chapter 8, verse 31, Jesus, it says this, it says, to the Jews who had believed him. There's that word believe we talk about, meaning the Jews that were following him. They weren't just like, yeah, we think he's a good guy or a good teacher, or he might be the Son of God. No, to the Jews that followed him, the Jews that had believed in him, the Jews that had traded everything and were his disciples. Jesus said this, if you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. What's he saying? He's going, when you live your way, you're always going to drift from the truth, and your life will have less freedom and less meaning. But the truth will change you. The truth will ground you. The truth will reshape the compass of your life. It will heal you. It will transform you. It will set you free. And notice the connection that Jesus draws between his way and his truth. He says, if you hold to my teachings, you will really be my disciples. In other words, he's going, when you follow me, when you live my way, that's when you begin to step into and know the truth. Then you will know the truth. Then you'll know that you found something you can trust in. Then you know you found something you can build your life on, no matter what life throws your way. Then you will know the truth, and it will set you free. Then there's this third side to what Jesus said, and I want to approach it from a way that's maybe not intuitive on the surface. Because you and I weren't just created for progress. We weren't just created for meeting. That you were created for intimacy and belonging, that you were made for life. And honestly, like we don't experience all these pursuits at the same time, right? There's times in our lives where we're really just striving for success. We're chasing our destiny. We're pursuing progress. And then there's other times where, like, you know, you're more reflective and something happens. And so you start looking around, trying to make sense of life, and you're looking for meaning and searching for what's true. Right? And there's other times where we go, man, I just want to be loved. Like I just want to have connection and relationships. I just want a place to belong. See, one of the biggest realities for people in our culture is this overwhelming sense of loneliness. It's just rampant in our culture. And part of the dilemma is that the thing that we long for most is also the thing that we fear the most, which is intimacy. But it's like oxygen for our souls. And so Jesus says, I am the life. In other words, I am what your soul needs to live. So you may have noticed a pattern if you've been listening to this or you've read through the book of John. You cannot get around the words of Jesus without getting around a conversation about life. Right? He said, I am the bread of life. I'm the bringer of life. I am the light of life. I'm the resurrection and the life. See, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what you're going through, Jesus came so that you can experience life. And this one's always tricky when you read the Gospels, especially because it's hard to give somebody something that they think they already have. Because Jesus is like, I am life. And people are like, thanks, we're already alive. We're good. Thank you. But the truth is, there's so much more room inside of us for life, because what we actually experience is not life, we're experiencing existence. And here's kind of where all this converges for us, right? One of the incredible things about the way that God made you is that you will feel most fully alive when you feel most fully loved. If you don't have love, all the progress in the world will leave you empty. All the meaning and the truth and the knowledge, it will leave you feeling like there's no point to life if you feel unloved, if you don't feel connected, if you don't have people, if you don't have a sense of, I've found the home for my soul, for my heart. And that is the most amazing thing about Jesus, is that he's both. He's both life and love. When you receive his life, you become fully alive, and you not only receive his life, you receive his love. And you become a source of that love for the people in your life. He is the way. He is the truth. He is the life. You do not ever have to be lost again. You do not have to spend your life searching for meaning. You do not have to go looking for love and life. You can come home to the one who all of it is wrapped up into one. Jesus embodies the best way to live, the truth about reality, and the meaning of life itself. And then there's the second half of verse 6 of what he says. He says, no one comes to the Father except through me. And if you're somebody who believes in Jesus, we don't struggle with that anymore, because part of it's just kind of a selfish thing, because we're in it. We found the way. We're on the way. But so many people struggle with that declaration that no one comes to the Father except through, I'm the only way. Because it just sounds so exclusive, right? It feels like God is making things unnecessarily narrow and difficult for people to find their way to him. I mean, if he really loved everyone, why can't all the ways just lead to him? Why is there just one way? But the thing that Jesus said, he's not just making a claim about himself, he's actually just simply stating how reality works. And so in 2015, we went to China to adopt our son Kai, and we were there for 17 days, and while we were there, Hansi got really sick, and we're not sure if it was the water or the food or a combination of both or what, but she just was not feeling well, not doing well, and for the most part, they're like, if something catastrophic happens and you need to go to the hospital, that's fine, but probably don't go to the doctor. Just, if you can stay in your room and tough it out. So by the end of the trip, we'd been gone forever, because we started out on vacation, and then we got the call from the adoption agency while we were a week and a half into vacation that we were going to China. So we'd been gone from home for almost a month. And we just really, really wanted to get home. And I remember being in the airport. We were in Hong Kong, and we were trying to make sense of the signs, and because we had no more interpreter, there was nobody with us anymore. We were trying to figure out which gate was the right gate that was going to take us home. And then I lost my boarding pass, which was really super fun. It was incredibly overwhelming and stressful. And if you had seen me in that situation and you came up and were like, hey, Randy, what's up, man? Man, you seem kind of stressed. What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know which gate is going to take us home. Like, we have this brand new 3-year-old, and he's scared to death, and he's freaking out, and he doesn't speak English, and we don't speak Mandarin, and Hansi's sick. We just want to get home. And you're like, oh, man, I've got great news for you. Any of these gates will take you home. Any of them. Just pick one. Just get on a plane, and it's going your way. It's going your place. And for some reason in that moment, I don't know how airports work, so I believed you. And I'd be like, wow, that's so amazing. It's so generous and kind. The airline, I can't believe it. Like, we just pick a plane, we get on a plane, and turns out it doesn't take us home. It drops us off in, like, Kazakhstan, someplace that's obviously not our home, where we don't know the language. And now we're going to struggle even more to nurse my wife back to health, and Chinese nationals aren't welcomed in Kazakhstan. I'm not going to look back at what you told me and go, man, at least it was really inclusive. It was really cool, right? Likewise, if you go like in the airport, you come up to me and you go, where are you going? Oh, to Boise through LAX? Oh, that's great. C-22. I'm not going to be like, C-22? Don't be coming at me with that closed-minded, narrow path, only one way to get home thing that you got going on with C-22. I'll get on any old plane I want to get on. Coming at me with C-22, I might want to take D-16. What if I want to go to A-47? right? You're going to be like, well, I mean, you can buy a ticket and go whatever gate you want to go. But if you want to go home, it's C-22. See, that would be incredibly loving. Why? Because it's true, because it's reality. I think people get so worked up that Jesus said he's the only way to God. And I'm just sitting here going, I'm just glad there is a way. That he wasn't like, let's be done with you guys. See, that's what he's saying when he says no one comes to the Father except through me. He's saying, I'm the only option you got. I'm the only one who's come for you. Nobody else is coming. I'm the only way home. And so if you've never taken that step, if you've wrestled with, maybe that's one of the things you're just like, I don't know if I could just get over that. Like, what about the people in Africa? Or what about the people in Muslim country? We have these really big philosophical questions, as if we're more loving than God, as if we care more about those people than God does, right? It's really just like a false hang-up we use to sort of push back. But if you're somebody that's really wrestled with that, man, I just want to invite you to come home to the God who created you, who loves you. Because there is a home for your heart. You were made for another world. And so my question for you this morning is this: whose way are you living? Whose truth is directing your life? What places do you keep turning to outside of God to try to find life and love? And you just keep coming up empty over and over and over again. It's time to come home. Whether you are a believer or a non-believer, he's inviting you home to him. And so here's the thing I want to challenge you with this week. That you would look at your life and that you would walk away from any way that undermines the way of Jesus in your life. And some of us have built some pretty sophisticated structure and support systems around our way because we want it to work so badly. And so there's a high cost to walking away from our way. But I'm telling you, you just keep getting on the wrong plane. No matter how much you invest, no matter what that ticket costs, it's not going to lead you home. Walk away from any way that undermines the way of Jesus in your life. No matter how good or right it feels, if it contradicts the way of Jesus, if it contradicts what Jesus would do, it's not meant for you. It will only leave you empty. Let's pray together.